Hey friends, I'm Stacy and this is Gorgeously Aging, and today we're going to do this makeup look which I think is beautiful for mature skin, using makeup items that I think are gorgeous on any skin, but especially on mature skin. For those of you brand new, I am a 53, almost 54-year-old master and medical esthetician, and I am passionate about all things aging beautiful from the inside out, with a special passion for skincare and makeup for mature skin. I'm going to use a lot of products here that I think are very underrated and are gorgeous on skin that's starting to show signs of aging. If that sounds interesting to you, keep on watching. So one of the things that I think is so important for makeup on mature skin is that the skin is prepped and hydrated before makeup. Also using a foundation or skin tint that is light to medium coverage. Anything heavy is going to accentuate fine lines, wrinkles, and texture on the skin. Another really important thing is face shaving, dermaplaning, and getting that vellus hair off the skin, and that also helps to further exfoliate the skin. You know, as we age, the skin doesn't regenerate or turn over like it did when we were young, so we definitely have more texture issues, and that becomes something that shows in our makeup. Having a good skincare routine that includes some exfoliation is also really important. I will share with you guys in the description box below what skincare products I think are great to prep the skin for makeup. I've already done my full skincare routine, and the tinted sunscreen I use today is a very lightly tinted sheer sunscreen from Kosas that I've really been enjoying. It does give the skin a little bit of tint, but it blends in beautifully. It doesn't look like there's any makeup on the skin, and I really enjoy that. I am going to go over that with the IT Cosmetics CC Plus Nude Glow. This has an additional SPF 40 on top of the sunscreen that I've already applied. So I'm just going to go ahead. I haven't used this one in a while, but I always really love the IT Cosmetics skin products in terms of their foundations, especially the ones that have SPF. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit of this on the skin. And you can always add more. So I generally opt to start out with a light layer, and then I'm going to use the IT Cosmetics airbrush brush. You guys, I buy everything myself. One of the things in the beauty industry that I don't like is that I won't accept a product where I have to sign a contract and say certain things, and that's the case a lot of times. So I only accept products if I can give an honest review and there's no contract that says I have to say certain things. I never want to mislead my followers and tell them something is good or something performs in a certain way that it doesn't. So I very rarely accept free product, and I never take any money to give a certain type of review or positive review. The only way I'm going to say anything is if I believe it's true. I'm always going to give an honest review, and therefore I almost always buy products myself. Once in a while, if a company sends me a product and they're like, yeah, just an honest review, that's all we're looking for, and I like the product or I like the brand, I might accept a free product, but typically I just don't. So I do like that this has a really healthy, beautiful glow to the skin. It's hydrating and it offers that extra SPF 40. Layering sunscreen is a really good hack to making sure that your skin is adequately protected. And it is that sun exposure over time that causes skin damage. I think we've all gone through a period in our life where we were sun seekers or sun worshippers. And I very early in my life realized how damaging that was going to be for my skin. And so I stopped doing that and started protecting my skin and doing a fake tan. But the sooner you stop that sun damage and start protecting the skin, the better off your skin will be. I am going to set my T-zone and under eyes with a little powder here in a minute, but first I want to use, this is the Cali Ray Hideaway Concealer or Color Corrector. This is beautiful on mature skin. It doesn't get talked about nearly enough, but it has a slightly peachy undertone that is so brightening. The texture of this is beautiful for mature skin. I'm using this in the shade Golden Hour, and I will list everything and the links down below. I am going to use a sponge here and pat that into my under eye area. I do have a little bit of discoloration under my eyes. It's not terrible, but a little darkness. So I do like to get that patted in and just brighten up those under eyes. This particular product gives just the nicest finish and is hydrating and nourishing for the under eyes. I've got about 8 to 10 under eye concealers that I really love for mature skin. If you guys want a video just on the concealers that I love, let me know and I'll do just a concealer video. But I'll tell you, it is so hard to find a good concealer for mature skin. So I'm going to take a BK Beauty 110 brush and go into the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. I've used this for years, since it first came out, and this is fantastic under the eyes because it sets down the concealer but doesn't look dry. It is a beautiful product. It comes in a really small container. That's probably the only thing I dislike, but I only use this one under the eyes. I mean, you could use it on other parts of your face, but I use this specifically for an eye setting powder. In just a little bit, it is so super finely milled. It is just a beautiful, beautiful powder. Before I set anything else on my face, I'm going to do a little contouring. And today I'm going to go back to an old favorite. This is the Fenty Cheeks Out in the shade Butter Biscuit. It's a creamy bronzer or contour shade. And this is another IT Cosmetic brush. This is the Airbrush brush, the smoothing foundation brush, but I'm going to use it for my contour. I'm just going to go right into the contour color and just stamp this lightly, kind of buffing it in or stippling it in to the cheekbone area. And I like to keep this higher up on the back part of the cheekbone just for more lift on the aging face. I like this color because it is a cooler color, so it works out really good to create that shadow we need for a good contour. I always like to do the jawline. It just gives the jawline a little more sharpness. And then of course you can go around the hairline. I like this because it blends in really well, this particular product. And it's not orangey. Sometimes I don't mind a little bit of that golden orangey hue, especially if I have a fake tan, but I don't like bronzers that read way too orangey. This one has always been pretty reliable for me. I don't use a lot of Fenty Beauty, but this one is definitely one that I really like. And then I have the Rhode Beauty. This is the Pocket Blush in the color Teddy. This one is so pretty. I'm going to take that same brush that I just used for bronzer. I just wiped it off real quick and just give a little flush to the upper part of the cheeks. This one looks so nice. It looks dark when you just look at it. I mean, it looks very dark, but it is so pretty on and it stays on so well. You could even use a little of this on the lips if you'd like. I'm going to use a different color today, but you can give your lips just a little wash of color with this too. I usually don't like a lot of celebrity created brands only because I feel like in the past sometimes they've been a disappointment, but there are quite a few now that I really do like, and I have really liked some of the products from Rhode Beauty. That is a brand, for those of you who don't know, that is created by Hailey Bieber, Justin Bieber's wife, especially the Pocket Blush, and there's a few of the skincare products that I have really enjoyed. All right, I'm going to use the Ilia powder today. This is one of my favorite powders, again, because it's really finely milled. It doesn't look cakey or heavy on the skin. And I'm just going to go ahead and put some powder here in the cap. I'm going to use a BK Beauty 111 brush, I think this is. Yep, 111. And I want to make sure I'm tapping off the excess. And I'm going to start just by putting a little bit here through my jawline. And then I want to get my T-zone, so that the concentration of powder is kind of where I need it most. There we go. And then I'm just going to kind of tap it in. I like to leave a little glow at the top of my cheek, so I'm not going to powder too much there. Now, this is optional, but I do like to reinforce my bronzer and my blush with a powder. So I've gone in with the cream bronzer or contour and blush. Now I'm going to use the Dior. This is a really nice bronzer. I like the color, it's not too dark, and it just is going to reinforce my contour so that it lasts longer throughout the day. Again, a really unnecessary step. I don't want to say unnecessary, but unless you're really into longevity of your makeup, I tend to always reinforce my cream, blush, and contour with a powder. But It's completely optional. So that's the Dior bronzer. I love that. I'll list that down below. And then a blush I haven't used in a while. This is by Too Faced. I don't use a lot of Too Faced, but I do enjoy this blush. So it looks really bright pink. You just need a little bit, and I'm just gonna lightly go over. I like the color of the cream blush by Rhode, so I don't want to add too much, but just enough that it kind of just gives a little reinforcement to that blush. Then I'm going to use the Danessa Myricks. This is the Wet Dew Balm. This is so pretty if you've never tried it. I don't talk enough about Danessa Myricks, but she has some beautiful stuff. And this will give you a highlight without it looking glittery or fake, just like a natural dewy highlight. So I like to tap a little bit of this on the high part of my cheek, and it doesn't take a whole lot. I'm just, lightly tapping my finger, and then I just do the tip of my nose and this part of my nose here. All right, now we're gonna do the eyes. I'm gonna go ahead with this Lawless palette called the Little One. I love this palette. It has like the perfect colors, I think, for me, and especially for fall. They're very warm. So I'm gonna start out with this color here and just pat a little bit into a BK Beauty. This is a 211 brush, and just give a wash of this above the natural crease. And you could do just that color and be done. I think this is like a good one and done shade, just to kind of lift the eyelid. I am going to go into this really light shade on a fluffier brush and just bring that in the inner corner. And then I'm going to go into this shade here. It's a little peachy tone. Just hit the center of the lower lid and kind of blend all that together. I'm going to go back to my BK Beauty brush because this is a little smaller, not as fanned out, and go into this brown, just a little bit of that, and create kind of some upward lift in the outer corner. Dragging it toward the tail of my brow, and then over. We'll go back with a fluffy brush and blend it all out. I love the formula. Lawless did an incredible job. They're very easy to blend. A really nice formula. I would say this is in my top 5 for eyeshadow formulas. And I've been really enjoying a smaller palette instead of those really huge palettes. So I'm going to take a small brush. This one is a Morphe brush. This is the Morphe times Ariel collection. This is the kind of brush I like to do my lower lash line with. So I'm going to start with that lighter shade first. And I'm just going to create a little bit of dimension on the lower lash line and connect it up to the upper lash line. I find using shadows on the lower lash line so much more forgiving of the mature face than using a harsher eyeliner, but that's just my preference. I'm going to take that same brush and go back into this darker brown and just deepen up the lower lash line. And then at the very end, I like to hit this black and just get the outer corner, and this kind of helps to blend in the outer corner with the depth and darkness of the lashes I have on. These are Ardell clusters. I'll list these in the description box below. They stay on for probably 4 or 5 days for me. My daughter uses them too, and they stay on longer for her. I really like them. I'm going to take my fluffy brush and just blend everything. Kind of push it upwards to create that upward lift. I also like to take a sponge. This is a paw blender. They're really affordable. I always keep these on hand just to kind of press the powder in. And then I will finish at the very end with a little setting spray. But can you see what a beautiful glow the upper cheeks have from the Danessa Myricks? This is the Dew Wet Balm. This is such a good product. I do like to take a Q-tip and just lightly go under the lower lash line just to make sure that that's kind of buffed in. And then I'm going to take my Urban Decay 24/7 liner. This is so good in the waterline, and just tight line a little bit here. I haven't used this product in forever. It's a little Clinique mascara But it has the tiniest little wand. I don't even know if this is still available, but if it is, I'll link it below. But I like this for the lower lash line. The lower lashes. For me, I have like almost no lower lashes. I forgot I even had this. I was cleaning up around my office space and found it, and I was so excited. So it's probably a little old, but if I can still find this, I'll definitely buy it again. Yeah, it's a little dried out, but this is so good. I hope they still have this, but I think there's maybe something similar by other brands. But for me, I just feel like with a smaller wand, it's just easier to get those little baby lashes on the bottom. I'm gonna use my ColourPop brow pencil and just give the brows a little zhuzh in the spots where I don't have much for brows, which is all over kind of. I do tint my brows with the Just for Men beard dye. In fact, I just did it this morning, so they look pretty decent right now, but I really don't have much for natural brow hairs, and I do microblading on my brows and micro shading, just because I think brows are so important to the aging face. The Just for Men brow tint works out really nicely, and I try to do it once a week, maybe once every other week if I get a little busy, but it makes such a nice difference. I think I have a video on that. So then after that, I do like to go over them with a little brow gel, only because it picks up those natural hairs that are there and makes them look a little thicker. This is the Grande Brow 2-in-1. It's a tint and a brow growth serum in one. I do really like this because anything that's gonna get my brows to grow a little more, I'm all for that. My daughter turned me onto this. She likes the Grande Lash Serum as well. And this also has pigment, so it'll kind of pick up those little hairs and just make them have a little more volume. On the days that I hardly wear any makeup, I always do my brows with a brow gel. I always put on a little blush and a little bit of contour with a bronzer, like a cream bronzer, but I don't always wear powder. I don't always wear eyeshadow. I do think the eyeshadow makes a big difference on the lift of the eyes. At least for me, I feel more confident when I have the eyeshadow on, but I always have a brow gel on if I'm gonna leave the house, and almost always do a tiny bit of contouring or at least a little blush. So I'm gonna use this Lawless Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Lip Smoothing Gloss. So usually I do like to use a lip liner. Today I'm not going to. Let's see if I like it without a lip liner. I'll list the color of this down below because it's a small package. I think I might have gotten this in like a trio. I can't read the fine print on there, so I will have to get my readers out and see what that color is. But that's a really pretty gloss. I like it. So I'm going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the Highlight Dual Pencil. It has a highlight side, and I'm just going to give a little lift here by highlighting under the arch of my brow. Just a little bit here. This is the Laura Mercier. This is the Translucent Pure Setting Spray 16 hours, and it says Invisible Hydrating Setting Spray. I really do love this one, and it works. Not all setting sprays do. I'm gonna fix my hair and I will be right back. So this is the finished look, you guys. I really do love the IT Cosmetics. This is the CC Nude Glow with SPF 50. I did set it down in a few areas, but I love the glow in the skin-like finish that it gives. I think it is so pretty on any skin, but especially mature skin. If you haven't tried this palette by Lawless, this is the little one. I think this is such a great fall and winter palette. I love the warmth of the colors, and the formula is beautiful. A couple other standouts, of course, I mentioned the Danessa Myricks highlight is beautiful. It's very natural looking, just a beautiful glow on the skin. Whether you wear makeup or not, if you want a little highlight, this is beautiful. The Rhode Beauty blush in Teddy is so pretty, and you can use it on the lips, so I like that it's versatile that way. And of course, I mentioned I'm not huge into Fenty Beauty, but I do love this cream contour in the color Butter Biscuit. And then I have to mention how great this under eye corrector concealer is. It's a serum formula. It's hydrating, it's forgiving on the mature under eye, and I think it's beautiful and way underrated. I'll list all of this down below. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to ask in the comment section below. Sending you all virtual hugs. I will see you in my next video.